Well, this is John Jaw Watson here, and I'm backtracking a little bit because I wanted to make sure to cover the beginning of Luke chapter 1, starting with uh, going starting with verse 1, going through to verse 25, and we have this story of Zacharias hearing the good news that he's going to have a son. That son's my namesake, John. No, I'm named John. I don't think that my mom was thinking of Zacharias when she named me. She was actually thinking of my dad. I'm John Jr. But God is gracious. That's what my name means. Or God's gracious gift. And to Zacharias, John is a gracious gift. It is amazing to see this man's responding to revelation. You see, he had been praying for a while. And, I get like this when I'm praying for things. I get anxious and nervous and wanting to control the results of my prayers and how they come out. And I start having expectations of God. And I start having timetables of how things are supposed to come through. And he and Elizabeth have been praying to have the son for quite a while. And their timetables have been blown. And so this anger and resentment has built up. And this anger and resentment has built up to a point where when the angel Gabriel, who is really clear about who he is and his identity and his sense of being, and he knows his role, really is surprised at Zacharias' capacity to doubt with an angel right in front of him. Now, all of our attitudes, all of our experiences have a history to them. And the way we experience life is often in the reference to things in the past that preset our minds, thoughts, and imaginations. And, there's this bigger picture that Zacharias, I think, is much more like a lot of us, including myself. We question God. We're not like Mary. We actually, when God shows up and says, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to get it done, we're like, how do I know? I've been so insecure in the past. How do I gain that security to now be secure with the present and move into this future? The angel had one basic message for Zacharias to help him out. Shut up. Shut up. You're going to be silent on this matter for 9 months. You're not going to be able to speak. A lot of times we get running our mouths and we get pouring out of our mouths what has been our past experience. That if God's given us a revelation of something about the future, and in this present moment, we're not able to digest it because we're still running the old tapes in our brain. There's a humility that John is brought to that I can really identify with. Here, can you imagine saying this to an angel? How can I be sure of this? How can I be sure this will happen? I'm an old man now, and my wife is also well along in years. Now, Gabriel, on the other hand, in contrast, you see, for Zacharias, his identity was wrapped up in whether or not he was going to have a son. His sense of intergenerational connectedness. And he was insecure, and he was emotional, and he was frustrated, and he was not going to be able to name this child after himself. That's a big deal. I mean, I'm John Jr. This is not Zach Jr. in this story. It's a big deal. Gabriel, on the other hand, is absolutely secure. He knows, I am Gabriel. He knows his God-given name, his God-given identity, his God-given purpose. And he's secure in that. And he knows where he stands. I stand before God. You can learn to have that kind of security in your life. You can learn to have an identity that is built around the fact that you belong to God and that nothing can take that away from you. And so that's a big deal. So that's a big, big deal. How do you do this? How do you do this? How do you find your sense of security? How do you find your sense of equilibrium? Now, the name Gabriel itself means, in the Hebrew, it's God's able-bodied one, or hero of God. And so, Gabriel knew from God himself what he was truly capable of. Because he was empowered. And you know what? God wants you to be secured and wants you to be empowered. And to be truly empowered is to actually be able to submit on one level to God's revelation, and on the other hand, to take hold of the freedom that God has given you that goes beyond that immediate revelation. There's so much of life that is your free choice. Do good with it. And when God calls you to something in particular, pay attention. Anyway, wanted to get this in here. I didn't want to miss Luke chapter 1. And I could even say some things about Luke as an author. He's writing in a manner that's much more comfortable to the Western mindset. Luke is going to give an orderly account to us of the gospel. He's going to collect all the information. He's going to be a good reporter. And he's going to put it in chronological order for us. The other gospels were really written for other audiences. You know, Matthew was really written to the Jewish community. And, you know, that's, you know, that's all good. So, I want to leave you all with this song, and just remember, fight the good fight of faith. There's a little Mahalia Jackson in the background.
I'm gonna stand right and always shine the road.
What about you?